Hey you guys, if this is on, we're all still here, I guess, or I am anyway, which I know you guys are too, because I ain't gonna get left behind. But anyway, so I had to cook some stuff. I mean, we always have to cook some stuff, right? But I mean, I just don't feel like going to the store, so I was looking around and I wanted to show any of you with a Persian background or have eaten Persian food. There's a place in Chicago called Reza's, whether you're Persian or not. If you've ever eaten there, they've been there forever. Well, anyway, this is a Persian dish. It's pretty simple. I don't know what it's called, but I'll show it to you right here. So these are boiling. That's a can right there. A can of, with the juice, whatever they're called, diced tomatoes. Then there's okra. I just kind of blobbed it in there to look equal. There's nothing really measured. I had to get rid of some of these onions. So this is about 4 onions, maybe 3. But that's okay because I'm making fish. So what you'll do is then, I think this is how you do it. I haven't made this in a while, but so the equal parts of okra, the tomato, and you can do your own tomatoes. Let me turn this down. You can do your own tomatoes. I just use the can, and some of this stuff isn't organic either. Like this is like because sometimes I'm like, Jesus is coming, why bother? Okay, with the organic. So then it calls for, I just put these up here. I usually buy organic, but you know, this is salt. So instead of using salt, I'm going to use garlic salt. So you do that to taste. Then this is cinnamon, and you use, you know, for about these amount. I'm not going to use all these onions in here, so I'm going to have some left. So then maybe let's say a half a teaspoon or half a tablespoon, I don't remember. And then about the same with this. And also garlic right here. This isn't organic. Okay, and here's my fish. So I'll take this out of the bag, and then I like putting it in this wooden fish thing because it's just, then I can rinse it. But anyway, then, so with that chopped raw garlic, I've bought that way before in organic, and it's just easier, takes less time, and then, but raw garlic is cancer fighting only when it's raw, and when it's processed like that, I don't even know. You'd have to taste it and see if it's still very spicy and hot in that, you know, way. But anyway, so if you do your own, if you chop your own, this is what you have to do is you chop it all and you let it sit for like 10 minutes. Benny, you just went out and in because I'm on the phone. So I don't know if I've already said this once, but when you chop garlic, you have to let it sit for 10 minutes because it produces a property in it that is very powerful in fighting cancer. It's similar to cutting yourself. If you cut yourself and then your flesh coagulates, not just the blood, but the flesh, everything kind of prepares for scabbing. Come on, Bobs. It prepares for scabbing. So that's basically what you've done to the raw garlic. You've chopped it up, and now it's trying to heal itself, like prepare itself for something. So it starts emitting and making properties that are very strong. And I was able to eat it raw before, but it's very dangerous in a way. Don't do it if you're anemic or you have normal to low blood pressure, which I have propensity for both, but I didn't know this at that time. So if you have high blood pressure and you love raw garlic, then go for it. if you are not. So anyway, yeah, you let it sit for 10 minutes on the chopping board, and then don't cook it. The and like that I showed you in there. Benny, are you done running me around, being the revolving door? All right, come in, Bobs. It's hot out here, and we can't keep going in and out with the heat. So when you are finished with your onion, okra, tomatoes, you got them all combined, and it's seasoning, your seasoning, and when you're finished with all that, well, you want to kind of do this to taste, I guess. So, I mean, unless you find a recipe. If I find this recipe and find out what it's called, I'll go ahead and link it, or I'll link the name of it, so you can maybe look it up and get exact. But it's very yummy if you think you'd be interested in this kind of flavor. So then when it's all said and done, then you add the raw garlic to the finished product, and you stir it up while it's all hot, right? And it's not really going to cook the garlic. So anyway, that's about it. Also, there's something called saffron. So saffron, I'll use that in my rice, and I'll do rice with this. So this I haven't opened yet, but this is saffron. And then you'll need one of these, a mortar and a pestle. So you put, this is the small version, and it's very nice smell. This is also good for diet pills. If people want to be on a diet, you can buy saffron in capsules, and it helps with various other things. But anyway, you take, like, this is mainly for color, which it actually turns some kind of orangey yellow, or, but anyway, then you'll chop this. It's already chopped, but you stick it in here, and then you grind it up, and then you add a little bitty bit of hot water, or, you know, your purified water, and then you maybe put it in, like I've put it in a shot glass before, but then it leaves a ring, and you're wasting some of it because it's not that cheap. So then when your rice, you're about ready to steam it, you stick that cup of little bit of liquid and saffron in there, steam your rice. When the rice is ready, you carefully, with some paper towel, pick that glass cup up with the saffron that's been steaming and heating as well, and you sprinkle it around the top of the rice. You don't have to be fancy. You don't just pour it on there, douse it. But it's, remember, the rice you're trying to, if you do rice like I was taught by a Iranian, then you put the paper towel in between. So it's already, you know, trying to soak up some of that moisture. So when you're adding your saffron, you don't want it to be a lot of moisture, right? A lot of water. So, and then you pour it out. And then it's going to be blobbed in dots all over the top. But then when you go to spoon it out, it stirs it in a way, and you use basmati rice, which is that's the healthiest rice. And also, I can do tahdig, not that well, but I've added things throughout the years. Like I add onions to my tahdig, and you can do it several ways, like shredded raw potato, thinly sliced potato chip type like potato, maybe bagged if you want to buy some hash browns, I don't know. So anyway, I just thought I'd share. Then and the fish I get is usually flounder, because flounder, you almost can't buy flounder that's not wild caught. And I used to love salmon, but the wild caught salmon was disgusting. I don't care if I fried it for like 2 minutes, and it was half raw. It was dry. So I am very picky about dry meat. It's got to be buttery. Falling apart is not the same as moist. Okay? It is very different than moist. I like it to be very buttery, consistent, like in my mouth, very soft and moist. So anyway, the flounder, the wild caught flounder, you can buy it in a big bag. tilapia is normally, like this is Kroger. So tilapia normally is, farm raised. And fish literally are what they eat. So if they don't keep that tank clean, they're eating their feces and their urine. I mean, really, how can you tell if they're really manning those? And then plus they put them probiotics and whatever, not the probiotic. Anyway, they just put those things in there. So I always buy flounder, and it is always melt in your mouth, super soft, even if you overcooked it, which I fry it pretty high and flip it after about, I don't know, not long. So anyway, so I'm gonna make the I'll make the basmati rice. This is my rice pot. And then I'm not gonna do tadi. But I got plenty of onion. I don't have any potatoes, and yeah, sometimes I just don't feel like grocery shopping, and but I'll do little things at a time. Like I'll buy a few things for a few meals for a few days, and then I've got to go back out. What else? So, but yeah, that's what this is, and it's turmeric. Here, it's okra, tomato, chopped tomato, or chop your own organic or organic canned. Nowadays they say these cans, they gotta be a certain kind of metal can or get glass. Oh, also speaking of glass, I usually always buy grapeseed oil. Now avocado oil is good as well, but I wonder about avocado being a vegetable. There's a salt. I wonder about avocado being, and this is sugar. Because sugar goes with everything, right? And then this young lady over here is also some salt. So call me lazy, but I got salt on both sides. I got a salt cellar on both sides. So, but anyway, they're both high heat. I know people go goo-goo over olive oil, but to me, when this thing spins around, I think it cuts off my words. But to me, you have to be careful with your olive oil because it's very hard to get the real olive oil. It should be cloudy, okay? It should have sediment at the bottom. And if you want something like that, I used to buy it in Texas at a Middle Eastern grocery store / deli thing where I'd get leg of lamb or kebab. I was never big on kebabs. So that wasn't my thing. But I sure did love the tomato and bell pepper and onion, but I burned myself out of green bell peppers. Oh, and also, so I don't eat those anymore. But yogurt. Then I eat yogurt with it. And I can make my own yogurt too. But I don't because it hasn't worked out and for some reason. But yeah, the high heat. Oh, okay, so you can go to the Middle Eastern grocery store, and in the glass bottle, gallon size, you can buy yourself a big old gallon of olive oil for like $20 a few years ago. I stopped doing that because I don't like olive oil. I don't like the taste of it. I don't like, and I know Gundry, Dr. whoever, but I like, and there's a lot of people anyway. I already take resveratrol, which is very similar to grapeseed oil. So a lot of people buy capsules as a supplement for grapeseed or, grapeseed extract, but just buy grapeseed oil. That way, if you have something you want to fry on high heat, that's tolerant. So is avocado oil. And it's also tolerant on low heat. So it's versatile that way. Much more versatile than olive oil, which Patrick, my boss, uses olive oil on high heat all the time. I'm like, you're just destroying it. I mean, it's not a high heat oil and you think you're so being healthy and all. I don't know if it destroys it or not, but all I know is it's not a high heat oil. But anyway, okay, well, that's, this is my little saffron holder thing for saffron and garlic salt and cinnamon and turmeric. Okay, and the flavors are very yummy together. All of that. and the okra is very high in fiber. I tell you what, if you got a problem pooping, I mean, the thing about okra though, you can go get you some fast food fried okra. You're still gonna get cleaned out that next day. Cleaned out. It's almost like you can't really screw up the fiber content of okra no matter what you do to it or what other people have done to it, like fast food or whatever you call it. I don't know about pickled okra. Maybe you can, but this is a frozen. I like buying vegetables frozen. So anyway, sorry for all the commentary, but um, um, if I can, I think the recipe is just pretty much named after itself, like okra stew. I think is what it's called, but it's the Persian word for okra and the Persian word for stew. So if you Googled Persian okra stew recipe, it's gonna give you the English Persian name, like how we would say it. Well, whatever. I don't know how you call it. But anyway, I'll get back to cooking, and that's about it. And hope you guys are having a blessed day. And I keep Israel in my prayers and the highways and the hedges. And, I know, and I just heard it again from Pastor Greg Laurie about God is merciful and he's waiting on these last people. But like I've said recently, I found a verse that I believe all these dates were already, before the foundations of the world were made. I believe God already knew when the rapture would be. I don't think he's waiting on anybody because, first of all, nobody can come to God, to Jesus, unless the Father draws him. And if he, I don't think God waits on anybody's free will. We'd be waiting forever. Another thing is, yes, our free will can ignore those promptings to draw us to Jesus, but even those, he's not going to wait forever. And this ain't no time for revival. It's the end time. It's the opposite, where a lot are going to fall away, fall asleep, just give up on religion, and a bunch of apostasy. And so I think that God waits on no man. I honestly don't think that's never really rung true with me. But if there's a Bible verse ever that backs that up, that I'm wrong, I'm fine with that. Just like this other stuff. So yeah, I think God already knew, and I told you the verse already, and I pinned it again, I think, in my last video. He already knew the Jews would reject him. They had the star and everything. Okay, you guys, this is just incredible. God already knew their free will, or did he harden their heart like he did Pharaoh? But still, we have free will, but it's always something controversial I'm thinking about. But yeah, we have a free will. He is going to draw the person, and I don't think he waits on anyone. I think he's slow to anger, slow to wrath, very merciful and kind, and of long suffering. Okay, and that's where it ends. That's there. Not ends, because he is never ending, but I'm saying that's as far as he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to wait for us. I think if anything is, if we're taking too long, he's going to smack you down to make you accept him, because he knows each one of us and what's going to make us do it. And that's a can of worms too, because is that predestination? Why didn't he smack everybody in the head? Why not them? Why them and not them? And la la. Anyway, food for thought. You guys, I'm sure, have your own opinions, hopefully outside of just man. I mean, I'm not saying to question men and teachers and stuff. I'm just saying if you're ever reading and you're just skimming through it because you've heard it many times or you read it many times and you've been taught, but every now and then a word, like before you read, just pray, Lord, is there something new here? Because every now and then a word that you've read over and over millions of times, one word in the sentence will change everything. It changes your whole idea of what you thought. And it's not going to just have to be one word. It could be the whole context. And I'm learning things from Nolan Ryan, Pastor Alan Nolan, that we've all been taught for years about the rapture and about which he is a rapture. And he's also what you call a lordship salvation, which I'd heard of that vaguely, but I really didn't. But I get that now. I'm like, wow, that sounds right. And but he's explaining Matthew 24 a little bit with a couple of different additions, not to the Word of God, but a couple different additions to the explanation that makes it more clear in our minds. Because, like I say, for years and years, we'll hear it taught, we'll read it ourselves, but there are always going to be certain spots of it and parts of it that we're like, wonder why this is this, and there's a little question mark above your head about a certain part here and there. But he explains some of that. So that's what I mean. I think that things can open up to you in different ways. Sometimes even when you think, you may even say, I know it, except for this one part that I don't, and I never will know it. But you can. You might. Anyway, God bless you guys, and have a great day in the Lord. Bye.